So in the book, there are 6 pillars.
Yep.
What are the 6 pillars?
So I look at these as these are the pillars of high performance. And for me, and this is something I think we connected very much on, was the power of language and precision in language. And so for me, these pillars are just how I break up a very complex thing into functional pieces. So we start with success. We have, I think, one of the biggest problems that's been produced by our school system is that in order to achieve something, right, to have high performance, you have to work hard and suffer today for the prize, the accomplishment tomorrow. We've been taught that from the first time we went into school, based on a school system being designed during the Industrial Revolution, where we need factory workers, right? Mm-hmm. Factory workers need to like, today's going to suck, but someday you're going to get a gold watch and a retirement. We are long past that, yet our school system is still based on it. And so we as entrepreneurs get stuck in this trap of, if I just keep grinding today, someday I'll have success. And that is fundamentally flawed.
Right.
So redefining success into something that is sustainable over a long period of time to produce an optimized daily experience is the first part of it. The next connection that we made is that as a human being, our success is 100% dependent on our ability to coordinate action with others. When we coordinate action well...
hang on, so you're going to the second pillar. So before getting to the second pillar, I just want to touch on this, a couple of things on the success, right? So first, I remember when you first said this, right, because we were going through our coaching, I was like, crap, right? My definition of success is kind of what was programmed into me.
Yeah.
And there was a few weeks of like reflection, right? Because, we didn't go to get ice cream if we studied hard, right? If we turned in our homework, we got ice cream if we got 100% of the test.
That's it.
Right? We rewarded results.
The accomplishment.
The accomplishment, not the behavior. So we have this achievement addiction, right?
It's accomplishment addiction.
Yeah.
Goal or objective, one after another.
Right. So there was, and it's, as I'm going through this, right, I was like, man, like everyone, or at least people I network with, has this problem as well.
That's why I've worked with 3 billionaires. I mean, and big, I can't share their names here, but like very well-known, big name people, and miserable.
Yeah.
They can buy anything they want in the entire world. Their families for the 5 generations buy anything they want, and they're miserable based on the fact that there is nothing left to achieve, yet their entire sense of self and worth is based on achievement.
Right. So, and I remember I had a private conversation with you and Annie, and one thing that I think kind of surprised you guys was like knowing that I have this accomplishment addiction, I'm actually a happy person.
Yeah. I'm very surprising. I'm glad you're not miserable.
Yeah. So, but I know that a lot of people that are, unfortunately. So, okay. So that's the success. So how does someone flip that switch?
The core piece is that success is not an accomplishment. Success is a feeling that a human has.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big awareness. Like we always believe that we connected accomplishment and success together, but it's not true. An accomplishment, it can be done outside of a human, right? Like a business can accomplish something. A business cannot experience success because success is a feeling. So one, understand that. So success is an optimized daily experience, sustainable over time. If I have all the accomplishments in the world, but that's misery to do it, and it's not sustainable, I'm not successful, even though I have accomplishments.
Yeah.
And so shifting the focus on what are we focusing on? When we focus on fulfillment instead of accomplishment, we get both.
Yeah.
If we focus on accomplishment, you'll never be fulfilled.
How do we find fulfillment?
So fulfillment has to be driven by a deeply held internally derived purpose. So if this is where comparison gets us screwed. So if I'm comparing, it's really bad in the real estate space, right? Because it's all about how many deals, what size of deals, all that stuff.
Plus social media.
And social media. So if you fundamentally understand this, it can help. As soon as something else determines my purpose, even if I achieve it, I can't feel fulfillment. That's a huge piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I look at you and you have a really nice car, and I'm like, I need to have that really nice car. You've now given me my purpose. I get that really nice car. It still feels empty because I didn't deeply and internally want the car to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime that I'm comparing myself to someone else, I'm setting myself up to suffer to accomplish something that will give me no fulfillment.
Yeah, it's a crazy trap. So
that's why I'm not on social media. Like I can't be, because it's literally designed to make you miserable, feel insufficient, so that you will be a consumer.
And pillar number 2.
Success can only be experienced as a human through tightly coordinated action with others. So team becomes pillar 2.
Yeah.
Our ability to team determines our success in life, both the feeling of it, like we were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and the accomplishments. You can't accomplish anything big on your own, and you can't feel good even if you produce an accomplishment at the cost of the connection with others.
So the guy that says I did this all on my own,
he's miserable fuck if he actually did. I don't know if I can say that.
Well,
Sorry.
it's too late now. It's live.
Yeah, sorry. Beep that one out.
Yeah. So, all right. So if the guy who says like I did this on my own, he's miserable.
Odds are, and
Yeah.
he's trying to prove something. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's miserable. Because
Right.
he doesn't have people in his life. And it's not true. He's got clothes on. He didn't sew them.
Yeah.
He learned something from someone. He didn't create that knowledge on his own. It's impossible for us to survive on this planet, much less thrive. Our level of thriving determines on our ability to coordinate action with others, our ability to team.
Yeah.
The most successful people in this world team at an extremely high level. The homeless people on the side of the road can't coordinate action with themselves, much less people willing to help them.
Yeah. And maybe that's the reason why I'm a giant Elon Musk fanboy.
Yep.
Right. Like he's coordinated action to very, very high level, doing,
Impossible things.
Potentially civilization changing.
Yep.
Things. And by the way, guys, like all the stuff we're talking about here, like it's all in this book, right?
How nothing's held back.
Yeah, how leadership actually works. So definitely check that out. I got this off Amazon. It's amazing.
So team.
So where is language in? Is language in pillar 1 or pillar 2?
Language is before you're even allowed to have a pillar.
Okay,
got it. Because we talk about the concept that, well, it's good that you brought it up here, right? So our ability to coordinate action with others determines our success in life. It determines our experience of life. As a human being that is not handicapped, my ability to communicate, my ability to use language is my easiest tool for coordinating action. So to me, language is our most powerful asset for production of success.
Yeah.
The better and more effective my language is, the better I coordinate action with others, the more success I experience.
So I'm bringing this up because as I was reading this book, I was thinking like, did Annie close me, right? Because on the conversation where she was, talking about all the different options, she's like, Steve, would you like to be on these calls, right? And I said to her, of course I want to be on these calls. Whatever you guys are speaking, whatever you're teaching my team, I want to be able to speak the same language with them.
No.
That was my thought process. But then I'm thinking as I'm reading this book, like, did Annie put that in my head, or was that my idea?
You put it in your head.
Yeah. So I have to ask her directly, but I suspect you're correct. All right. What's the third pillar?
So your success is determined by the teams that you're on. The teams that you're on is determined by your behavior. So behavior becomes the third pillar. And behavior in two flavors of it: your individual behavior and your ability to influence others' behavior. So behavior change.
Yeah.
Our ability to change our behavior is what enables us to optimize teams or get invited onto a team, be on a team. So you'll see it continues to get deeper and deeper, right? Mm-hmm. Our success is determined by our teams. Our teams are determined by our behavior. And that leads us to our fourth pillar, where our behavior is determined by our ability to self-regulate.
So before we get into self-regulation, you have a distinctionary.
I do. Distinction Larry is what they say.
Is that what's distinction Larry? Okay. Behavior, I think, is a term that everyone all agrees on the definition. So what do you mean by behavior?
Behavior are the observable actions that are repeatable of a human being.
Yeah. So how they...
And behavior to me is repeatable.
Got it.
Like an individual action is not a behavior, right? So some people have actions that are not repeatable or predictable. That's not behavior in my book.
Yeah. So how they act repeatedly
Yes.
is their behavior.
Is their behavior. Another word for that would be their culture or their personality. Those are all the same, to me, very similar words.
Yeah. And if your behavior is not optimal, you're getting voted off the island. You're off the team.
You're not going to be on a highly effective team.
Yeah.
So your level of behavior determines the team you get to be on. If you have highly effective behavior, you'll actually be kicked off of low functioning teams. That's an interesting thing. It works
I've never heard of
ways.
this.
Think about it though. If you're super high functioning and everyone else sucks, what
You'll
do they
probably
do?
leave. I don't know if they kick you out. You would.
No, they leave because all it does is show how ineffective their behavior is, and they can't have it.
Yeah.
You've probably been on that before, where you've been in a team where you're the higher functioning person on it, and they don't want you around.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been there. I think I've just kind of like left. I was like,
oh, you left.
I was like, I don't know what is going on here. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I am out of here.
Yeah. So you'll notice that it's the same thing. It's like you're a bright light around dark, and the dark doesn't like the light, so they're going to want you off. Just like if you're low functioning on a high functioning team, they want you out because you're an anchor.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's both sides.
Yeah, and I think it's so behavior. Then would you say is in a way your level of function?
Yep. So for the way we determine functional level is size of commitments and consistency of holding those.
Yeah.
So if you have effective behavior, you make big commitments and you hold those commitments really well.
Yeah.
And you can see how this works, right? So if I make big commitments and hold them well, then I get to be on teams that make big commitments and hold them well.
We're talking about like A players, right? Like if you're an A player, you get to play on A teams.
Yep.
If you're a C player, you're getting kicked off that team pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's where self-regulation. Use your self-regulation to change your behavior to become an A player.
Yeah. So self-regulation is next.
Self-regulation is next. So self-regulation is the ability to use my intention to modify my behavior. And that comes in physical, mental, emotional flavors, right? So physical self-regulation, mental self-regulation, and emotional self-regulation. That means I can use my intention to control my emotions. Yeah. So say I feel really scared to be on this podcast, I can use my self-regulation to continue to take action despite my fear.
Power through it.
Yeah, to power forward. Say you start to really question or push me on a point I make, I can use my self-regulation not to punch you in the face.
Right? Is that emotion or mental? I'm not sure. Combination.
It's emotional, right? Self-regulation, leading to the need not to physically self-regulate. So that ability to use intention to control our behavior, mentally, physically, and emotionally, determines our behavior and our ability to change our behavior. So it becomes the foundation of behavior.
And the last step is
last
pillar.
Two more. So we've got 4 so far. Think of these 4 as the foundation of high performance, right? Success, team, behavior, self-regulation. At that point, we have to master those of ourselves, or at least get good at them better than those around us. When we start to illustrate effective behavior in all 4 of those pillars, we're going to produce results. When we produce results, that's automatically going to evoke effective action in those around us, which is leadership. So the 5th pillar is leadership. Leadership being where I start turning from internally leveraging those 4 pillars to externally helping others leverage those 4 pillars. When I do that, I'm leading. It's very natural progression.
Right. And people want to follow.
Because you're effective.
Right.
If you're ineffective, if you can't do those first 4, good luck leading.
Well, then you're going to be like directing and no one wants to listen.
Micromanagement.
Yeah.
Right?
Then what's the last?
Someone that has no authority.
What's the last pillar?
So we get to pillar 5. Now all of a sudden we got momentum, right? Because if you start having the ability to have people make big commitments and hold them and direct the commitments they make, now all of a sudden we get movement, and that's where planning comes in. So planning becomes our final pillar, and that planning gives us the ability to direct the energy or the power that we produce through the first 5.
So we had a call a few weeks ago, and this right here, pillar number 6, was kind of like a shocker to me, right? So the example I've always used is like, I'll take a car, right, maybe a Prius, and I'll go like 100, right? Yeah. And it's kind of shaky, right? but it's fine, right? And then we'll go 110. It's like, okay, we have a problem with this Prius. Like, let's pull over or let's go to the pit stop, get some new tires, maybe some new brakes, right? And see how we handle, like, okay, now the suspension's okay, but the wind noise is pretty bad. All right, let's maybe go to another pit stop, get a spoiler, whatever, right? Now we can go 120.
Spoiler. You go right to spoiler.
Whatever it is, right? But something to fix the airflow, right? And I will keep going till whatever breaks next.
Yeah.
And then we'll fix that. And this is like my journey in 15 years of business.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go fast, break something, fix it. Let's go faster, break that, fix it. Let's go faster. And it's how I've lived my whole career.
Yeah.
And then I hear this thing about planning, and there's actually things you can do to prevent things from breaking.
You could. It's amazing.
It's crazy to me. So what are those 3 things we do to prevent, or at least be prepared for something to break?
So the first thing I like to share is it's the same mindset. Like, you have someone and I'll tell them, hey, you need to do some planning. And what's their first
I don't have time.
I don't have time. I'm like, okay, this will be the easiest. This is like a softball. So you don't have time to do a plan. What is that telling you?
We're going to have a lot less time later on.
We should probably plan.
Yeah.
Like, when you don't have time to plan, like when we get over capacity, when we're going 100 miles an hour in the Prius that's shaking, what always shows up is you stop learning. That's the first thing you give up when we're going fast. Next thing you give up when we go fast is leading, right? Leading effectively. It's like, I'll just jump in and get it done, right? I'll hold the windshield on. And then the third thing to go is planning. Like, we don't plan. We don't have time to plan. We just respond to whatever fire we got.
Yeah.